Next topic is bang. It's based on this tweet that I put out, and I put this tweet out because it was weird, man. YouTube sometimes does these weird recommendations where I start watching old iPhone videos, and then Marquez's video review of the OnePlus 3 came out. And I was like, okay, let me just watch it. Throwback OnePlus 3, 16:9 aspect ratio display, first dash charging. And then when he was running through the specs and he said 6 gig RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage, I was like, rah, 2016? I remember when people were saying that was overkill, and then all of a sudden, skadoosh. I just put it out like, you know, that's just kind of funny how in 2016, OnePlus brings out a phone that has 6 gig RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage. In 2019, Apple bring out what I thought was a 6 gig RAM phone with 64 gigabytes of storage. And I was like, okay. And I just thought, let me just put out that thing got like over 100 likes, good couple retweets. People are commenting and like the stuff that people are coming up with, man, is nuts. Only to then find out that, so he must have posted this. Yeah, like everyone was thinking like, okay, raw, okay, the Pro models have 6 gig RAM. Apple are listening, you know, 6 gig RAM, big batteries, you know. For in retrospect to Apple, these were big batteries, especially the 11 Pro Max. Like 3500 for Apple is kind of thick, you know. So we were thinking this, and it was like, all right, cool, this is right, this is heading in the right direction, you get me? So then there was an article from Mac Rumors, I believe. So then there was an article from Mac Rumors basically saying that the RAM configuration is actually 4 gig across the board. And these are the battery capacity. So the battery capacity even became more impressive on 11 Pro, but then the RAM configuration just wasn't. And that just made things very, very interesting. That made things extra interesting. I was like, rah, okay, things are not what we expected in that retrospect. So then coming back to the tweet that I put out there, you know, I'm there thinking like, this is even more controversial, because this is not to say these phones are not good. I kind of like their approach in terms of their camera experience for consistency and the video performance. Like, wow, every extended dynamic range video that I've seen on the iPhone 11 series is just kick ass, is banging the video. But my goodness, for a Pro device, and people can talk about RAM management being also perfect on iOS, it is not good enough for the long term. People, I saw speed test, I've seen everything Apple Pro's video, I've seen other people's video. iOS 13 is buggy enough as it is. I hope 13.1 fixes it. It's honestly kind of reminiscent to the problem that the iPhone 10 had with 3 gigabytes of RAM and the port optimization of iOS 11. This feels like a rehash of that, and that's very worrying. If we're seeing stuff like this now, where in a lot of cases the iPhone XS Max, fine, there's that thing of optimization and whatnot, the iPhone XS Max is actually outperforming what we're seeing on the iPhone 11 Pro series phones. This is not a good look for long-term usage. It's just not. So it's bad enough that they weren't able to put, not that they weren't able, they chose not to put 6 gigabytes of RAM in there. I really appreciate that they've put like a really thick battery in an iPhone with 18-watt charging, which is in between the charging speed of a Galaxy S10 to a OnePlus 7 because of 18 watts, you know. S10 is about 15 watts, OnePlus 7 is about 20 watts, 18 watts sits in between there. Cool. Fast enough-ish, right? But this is not good enough. It does not matter what people think about iOS optimization and how great it is. This is not good enough for a pro level device, right? And what's even more infuriating is that Apple have put 6 gigabytes of RAM in their iPad Pro range, be it all based on what storage model you get, i.e. the 512 gig and a 1 terabyte model. But they have a 6 gig RAM configuration in their iPad Pro line. Why is the iPhone 11 series, especially their Pro device, not getting that same level of treatment. And like, I respect iOS as much as the next guy. If you don't believe me, I've got my XS Max here. This isn't about dissing Apple because I'll never use an iPhone. This is, I said it, this is my first year where I will not be upgrading to an iPhone because I just don't think it's good enough. I don't think they've cut the mustard. Fine, they've cut the mustard when it comes to the camera. Hell yeah, I'll give them that. I'll definitely give them that. So far, they've got the best video stabilization at up to 4K 60 frames a second with no unlimited, like, I'll give them that. For their camera, I think their approach in terms of consistency for focal lengths and stuff, like, but this is not good enough. Anyone that tries to defend, like, the type of replies that I was getting on specs don't matter, and I'm like, the whole thing about specs don't matter when it comes to certain things is true, but when it comes to that price point for long term, specs do matter. If specs don't matter, then put a small battery, put 2 gig RAM, and then just basically base everything around optimization. If you want to optimize something, as your OS gets more resource intensive because you're adding new features, the underlying features are increasing, resources are increasing, you need more and also quality hardware to optimize it from. You need it. You need it. Apple, I don't know why you're doing this to your iPhone users. You're not doing this to your iPad Pro users. Your iPad Pro are getting pro level mobile experience. And seriously, especially since the launch of iPad OS, I don't get upset. I never got upset at people buying iPads, but now I think people that buy iPads are like, raw, you're getting your potential long-term use out of this product based on the features that, whether you know it or not, but when you discover it, you're going to be even more amazed that you bought the iPad Pro. You're not getting that with this. So on top of not having a truly quad high definition display, on top of not having an OLED Pro Motion display at 90 Hz or higher, on top of not having a professional input output IO like USB Type-C, Gen 1, Gen 2, right? You're still using USB 2.0 over Lightning. Not good enough. On top of not having bilateral reverse wireless charging because you have accessories that support it, not to charge phones, but to charge wireless earpods, right? On top of not putting the fingerprint scanner back and bringing Touch ID back, which is your best security authentication. Fine, Face ID is, convenient, but if you still have an evil twin, they're still going to be able to unlock your phone. Whereas when you have an evil twin, they can't unlock your phone with their fingerprint. You see, so the security level is always going to be better with fingerprints, period. This is not good enough. It's just not good enough. The only thing I'm seeing that is a major benefit is these cameras and maybe the battery capacity of the 11 Pro Max specifically. Everything else, in somewhat retrospect, the way people are realizing how much 3D touch was actually a clutch thing to use, in some ways, I make the argument that, will you really notice that brighter panel so much and miss 3D touch? Fine, 3D touch is not there. You've got much bigger battery capacity. It's a good trade-off. But in some cases, people can make the argument that the iPhone XS Max has a better display experience than the iPhone 11 Pro. And then on top of that, now the performance is telling a question. For all the naysayers out there, Apple are great. They were a company that did what BlackBerry did, but better way. They took a Hail Mary, they made their own software, and it paid off. That's not an easy thing to pull off and sustain as well through services. We have to give them all the accolades, but this is not good enough. It just isn't. It really is not. So people that were getting in their feelings, like, guys, this is not good enough. It's not good enough. So